Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we grab a whole stack of sources, articles, research, you name it, and we pull out the absolute best bits, the key insights, just for you. Today we're looking at AI, but maybe not how you usually think about it. Not just as a clever tool, we're exploring it as a fundamental operating system, something that could completely reshape how businesses work and maybe unlock some serious exponential growth.
Exactly. Yeah. Our mission today really is to get into something called the master prompt method. We're looking at it through the eyes of this serial entrepreneur, Hayden. And this isn't just about writing slightly better prompts one at a time. It's more like a shortcut to unlocking AI's, well, its full potential, turning it from just a flashy assistant into a real strategic partner in your business.
Okay, so today, you, the listener, you'll get some really practical insights. We'll look at how AI actually impacts, like every single part of a business. We'll explore this idea of how it democratizes execution, basically letting smaller teams do things only huge companies used to be able to do. And, really crucially, we're going to break down exactly how you can start building your own master prompt. Okay, let's dive in. So when we talk about this guy, Hayden, we're talking about someone who is, well, incredibly dedicated to AI. It sounds almost extreme. He gets up at 4:30 a.m., spends 5, sometimes more, hours every single day just learning, tinkering, playing with AI. I mean, that's some serious commitment.
It really is. But what's fascinating is the why, right? Why put in that kind of time? Hayden genuinely believes AI can literally double, maybe even triple the growth of every single one of his companies per year.
Double or triple per year.
Yeah. Per year. Now think about that. Most leadership teams, they're aiming for maybe 30%, 50% sustainable growth year on year, and that's considered pretty good.
Right, that's solid growth.
Exactly. But Hayden's talking potentially 10x for his scalable digital businesses using AI today. And even for the less scalable ones, the brick and mortar type stuff, he thinks 60 to 100% growth per year is totally possible.
Wow.
It's not just about being a bit more efficient. It's like fundamentally redefining what a business can achieve.
Okay, double to triple growth.
Yeah.
That's a huge claim. What's the biggest sort of pushback he gets, or what's the key thing he points to that makes that even sound plausible?
Well, yeah, the skepticism is understandable. Of course it is. But Hayden's argument is that AI acts like this ever-present, tireless force multiplier. And it's constantly learning, right, across every single function of the business. We're not talking small tweaks here. It's a systemic shift in how work gets done, how fast you adapt, how fast you scale. And remember, he's not just testing this on one little startup. He's got, 3 holding companies? Around 30 active businesses?
Whole 30.
Yeah, about 2/3 acquired, 1/3 he started himself. And it's a real mix. He's got HVAC, plumbing, roofing, very physical brick and mortar businesses.
And then a whole bunch of digital ventures, too. So it really shows this isn't just a tech bro thing. It's universal.
Okay, so if it hits every business, how does it actually, move the needle? How does it affect the bottom line?
Right. So tying it all together, Hayden makes this really bold claim. AI affects every single valuation driver in a business.
Every single one.
Every single one. Now, okay, maybe some areas see 3x, 5x growth. Others maybe only 2x, right?
Yeah.
But it's the fact that it's everywhere. That pervasive impact is what really changes the game in terms of creating value.
That is a huge claim. So, okay, let's make it real. What does that look like day to day? Give us some examples.
Sure. Okay, so marketing. He's seeing massive growth there.
Yep.
Sales managers, AI can make them like 3 times more effective.
3 times. How?
By helping with things like reviewing calls, managing the pipeline, even doing autoresponders. It strips away a lot of that tedious admin stuff that just bogs sales teams down.
Right, the stuff they hate doing anyway. Exactly. So they can actually focus on, selling. And then in operations, think about creating processes, standard operating procedures, SOPs.
Oh yeah, the bane of existence for men.
Totally. AI makes that so much faster. It takes away the monotony, the drudgery that made people put it off forever.
That sounds like a dream, honestly. Getting those processes nailed down without the pain. Okay, so let's get into the heart of his method then, this master prompt method. I think anyone who's played with AI, you start with those simple prompts, right? 1 sentence. And the answers are, okay. A bit like Google, maybe.
Yeah, pretty basic.
Then maybe you find those longer prompts online that copy-paste this one's, like, you are my super strict executive coach, or whatever.
Right, those templates.
Yeah. That's better, but it still feels kind of limited.
And that's where the master prompt comes in. It's the next level. Hayden's big question was basically, how do I give the AI full context? My entire business context every single time I ask it something, but without rewriting it all.
Ah, yeah. That constant, okay, AI, remember what I told you about frustration? I think a lot of us have felt that.
Exactly. It's so inefficient.
So beyond just being annoying, what was the real bottleneck there? What drove him to fix it?
Well, the biggest cost was just the inefficiency, like you said, but also the missed opportunity for the AI to learn iteratively. Every time you restart the conversation, the AI basically has amnesia. It starts from scratch. So his solution, he found Claude, specifically Claude's personal preferences feature.
Okay, personal preferences.
Yeah. This is where he basically uploaded, imported all his business memories, the full context. For one business, it's like a 20 or 30-page Google Doc.
30 pages.
Yeah. And the AI accesses that document every single time he prompts it. That constant, comprehensive, personalized context, that's the secret sauce. That's what creates this night and day difference in the responses and lets the AI continuously improve for his specific needs.
Okay, so that's the how. What's the payoff? Why does this matter so much for, for us listening?
He puts it really simply. You get more done, better, faster. The quality of what the AI produces jumps dramatically. Some stats he mentioned suggest like a 40% improvement.
40% better quality.
Yeah. And productivity just goes through the roof. Tasks that might have taken, say, 2 weeks to pull together all the pieces for now maybe under an hour.
2 weeks to under an hour.
Yeah. That's the real aha moment,
Yeah.
That's when you see AI stop being just a tool and start becoming your operating system.
Wow. Okay. That efficiency gain is huge. And this leads to another key idea he talks about, the democratization of execution. Can you unpack that a bit? What does that mean for a business owner listening right now?
It's a really powerful concept. It basically means AI lets small companies, even solo founders, do complex stuff that used to only be possible for huge corporations. Think like General Motors level processes.
Right.
AI kind of levels the playing field. It narrows the gap. So these smaller, maybe more agile players can suddenly use sophisticated tools and processes to compete, maybe even outmaneuver the big guys. It forces a whole new way of thinking strategically.
So disrupts the old advantages.
Absolutely. Now, it's worth saying this shift will probably happen faster in digital areas, Software, marketing, legal, finance, compared to brick and mortar businesses, which have more physical limits. But the principle applies across the board.
That makes sense. A huge shift in competition.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the AI itself, Hayden clearly prefers Claude. What is it about Claude that makes it right for this master prompt thing?
Yeah, he's definitely a Claude fan for this.
Yeah.
A few key things make it stand out. First, those personal preferences we talked about that's essential for holding the global context, the main master prompt. But then it also has projects. This lets you add extra kind of siloed knowledge for specific tasks.
Siloed, like separate compartments.
Exactly. So you can have a project just for your seller funnel knowledge, totally separate from your buyer side knowledge. And crucially, you can share these projects with other people on your team.
Ah, collaboration.
Right. That's a big deal. Like ChatGPT lets you make a project, but you can't share it, last I checked. Gemini has something called gems, but apparently they weren't really working right. And Notebook LM is interesting. It's project-like, but it doesn't have that global preference setting for the overall context. So it's Claude's combination of global context plus shareable, siloed project knowledge that makes it, well, perfect for this master prompt method.
Okay, got it. Global context plus shareable projects. Let's see
Yeah.
it work. Give us a real-world example. You mentioned AI hiring using top grading.
Yeah, top grading. For anyone who doesn't know, it's this super rigorous hiring process, really structured, lots of detailed interviews, background checks, all focused on finding true A players.
Sounds effective, but maybe time-consuming.
Incredibly time-consuming. That's the catch. It works, but it takes ages. So here's where the master prompt is magic. Hayden can just type something simple like, do AI hiring for a marketing director?
Just that.
Yep, because AI hiring is already defined as a protocol, like a mini program, within his master prompt. And the AI just goes to work. It spits out a super detailed job description, responsibilities, metrics, quarterly targets, how to tell an A player from a B player. Wow. Month by month expected outcomes, the ideal background someone should have. And this is even if that role doesn't exist yet in his company.
It creates the role description from scratch.
Pretty much, based on the business context it already has. But it doesn't stop there. It creates all the recruitment materials, screening criteria, what to look for in a cover letter, sample interview questions, email templates, job postings ready for LinkedIn or wherever, scenarios for working interviews, even homework assignments for candidates.
That's incredibly comprehensive. How much time does that save?
He estimates it saves an HR director easily the better part of a week's work for one hire. Yeah. But maybe even more important is that it lets a tiny company, maybe just 5 people, use these really elite hiring practices, things they could never afford or manage before. And that means they potentially hire, say, 50% more A players over time. That compounds. That's a massive growth advantage.
That is astonishing.
Yeah.
A week saved, plus small companies acting like big ones in hiring. So no more excuses like, I didn't know how to structure the interview.
Yeah.
It sounds like it removes ambiguity, too.
Mm.
Have you seen this kind of clarity boost morale, not just efficiency?
Oh, absolutely. Just knowing what's expected, how things work, reduces so much stress and friction. Which brings us to another great example, AI for SOPs. Standard operating procedures.
Ah, yes, SOPs. Everyone knows they need them.
Right. For consistent delivery, for clear processes, flowcharts. Everyone agrees they're important.
Right.
But they are a massive pain in the ass to actually create manually, let's be honest.
Okay, yeah, fair point.
It takes forever. It's tedious. People hate it. But with the master prompt, Hayden can literally take a screenshot of a flowchart someone drew and just type, do AI SOP. Again, it's another predefined protocol.
And what happens?
Instantly, or near instantly, the AI generates detailed SOPs for every single step shown in that flowchart.
Okay, that's wild. Replacing how much work?
He figures that replaces at least 3 months of manual work, probably more for complex processes.
3 months. Gone.
Gone. And think about the impact. Accountability goes way up. No more, oh, I didn't know what to do or I wasn't sure how to do it. It's all documented. And employee buy-in gets better too because roles and processes are crystal clear. Everyone knows how their piece fits.
That clarity must be huge.
It is. And what's really cool is how he keeps making it better. It's not static. He actually has Claude ask him questions about the process or the context.
The AI asks some questions.
Yeah. And then, based on the master prompt it already has, Claude tries to answer its own questions. Then it pauses for Hayden to review the answer.
Huh. Why do that?
Because it immediately shows where the master prompt is weak or unclear. If Claude can't answer its own question accurately based on the context provided, Hayden knows exactly what part of the prompt needs more detail or refinement.
That's clever. It's like the AI is helping him debug his own instructions to it.
Exactly. It's this constant feedback loop, this iterative improvement process for the master prompt itself. Brilliant.
It's that constant learning, the AI getting smarter about your business. It leads Hayden to some pretty bold predictions about how companies themselves might change. He talks about eventually getting rid of the entire director layer in companies, leaving just managers.
Yeah, it's definitely a provocative idea, controversial even. But his thinking, if you connect the dots, is that AI essentially becomes that director layer, maybe even parts of the CEO layer.
The AI is director.
Yeah, leaving you with basically owners at the top and frontline employees doing the work, managed by an expanded manager layer who are heavily supported by AI. The AI fills that strategic and oversight gap. It's like this hyper-efficient virtual director.
Yeah.
Which, totally changes how you think about organizational structure.
And growth, especially for mid-sized companies.
Right. He talks about AI helping companies get through that awkward phase, the valley of death, or the swamp, he calls it.
The swamp.
Yeah, where you're too big to run on pure hustle, but too small to afford a full C-suite or director layer. AI bridges that gap.
That makes a lot of sense. It smooths out that difficult scaling phase. He does draw a line, though, doesn't he, between different types of businesses scaling.
Oh, absolutely. He's realistic. Those brick-and-mortar businesses, the HVAC, the plumbing, they're not suddenly going to scale 5x a year. There are physical constraints.
Right. You still need trucks people.
Exactly. But for digital businesses, especially info products, he thinks you could see almost like infinite revenue with very few employees. So the core idea, AI driving efficiency, that's universal. But how dramatically it lets you scale, that definitely varies by business model.
Okay, so we've heard about the power, the potential, the theory behind the master prompts. Let's get practical. How does someone listening right now actually start building one? Where do you begin?
Right, down to brass tacks. Hayden's advice is super simple to start. Just create a Google Doc.
A Google Doc, okay.
That's your foundation. That's where you'll build your master prompt. And then you start filling in sections. First up, personal info.
Okay, like what?
Your role in the company itself, how you specifically want the AI to help you. And, this is key, your strengths and your weaknesses.
Why weaknesses?
So the AI knows where it needs to compensate, where it can fill your gaps, makes it a better partner. Next section, company info. Basic stuff. When it started, number of employees, who reports to whom, what markets you serve, who your ideal customer is, your products, your services.
What if you're not totally sure about some of that, like the ideal customer?
Good question. Hayden actually suggests asking the AI for help defining those things if you're fuzzy on them. Use the AI to clarify your own business basics.
Okay, use the AI to build the prompt for the AI. Meta, what's next after company info?
Then you define the what. What's the core outcome, the transformation you deliver for your customers? Get really clear on your value proposition. After the what comes the how. How do you actually do that? What's your unique process? How are you different from competitors? Which leads naturally into the next section, market information, details about your competitors, what they do, their strategies.
Okay, what, how market? Got it.
Then people or team plus KPIs. Who does what? Who reports to whom? And crucially, try to identify one single key performance indicator, a KPI for each person.
One KPI per person. That sounds tough.
It can be. But again, if you're stuck, ask the AI to help you brainstorm or identify the most impactful KPI for each role based on their responsibilities. Now, a quick but important side note here. You're putting a lot of sensitive company data into this document, right? People, structure, maybe financials, implicitly through KPIs.
Yeah, that's a really good point. What about data privacy, IP? Is Hayden concerned about that, putting it all into Claude?
That's definitely a crucial consideration for anyone doing this. While we don't have Hayden's specific security measures documented here, the standard advice absolutely applies. You have to be mindful of what you're inputting. Understand the terms of service and security practices of the AI platform you choose, whether it's Claude, ChatGPT Enterprise, or something else. Don't put in anything you wouldn't be comfortable potentially being seen under their data usage policies, especially with consumer versions. Enterprise versions usually offer more privacy. It's a calculated risk you need to assess.
Okay, vital caveat there. Be smart about your data. So after people and KPIs, what else goes in the doc?
A full list of your products and services. Current ones, planned ones, costs, features, benefits. Be comprehensive.
Makes sense.
And then something Hayden stresses is super important. Culture.
Culture. How do you put culture in a prompt?
Your core values,
Yeah.
your company mission, your BHAG, your big, hairy, audacious goal. Why? Because you want the AI's output, its voice, its suggestions, to align with who you are as an organization. It helps ensure the AI act like a true extension of your team and helps attract the right kind of customers and employees, true fans.
Right, so the AI's personality reflects the company's.
Exactly. And finally, the last section is where you start defining your actual prompts or protocols. These are those mini programs we talked about, things like AI hiring or AI SOP. You define the steps for those specific tasks right there in the master prompt, and you build this section out over time. You read a new business book, get an idea, you can add a new protocol based on that concept. It's like installing new software onto your AI operating system.
Okay, that makes sense. It grows with your knowledge. Now, there was one really crucial piece of advice about goals.
Yes. Very important. Hayden strongly advises, do not put your long-term strategic goals into your first version, your V1, of the master prompt.
Don't put goals in. Why not? Isn't that the point?
His reasoning is fascinating. He says AI is evolving so fast and its capabilities are expanding so quickly that your own goals are likely to change dramatically because of what AI makes possible.
Ah, the AI itself will change what you aim for.
Precisely. He used himself as an example, his goal for 2026. It's already 4 times bigger than what he thought was possible back in early 2024, just because of the impact AI is having on his businesses.
Wow. Okay, so stay flexible on the big goals initially because AI might just blow them out of the water.
That's the idea. Let the AI show you what's possible first.
Okay, so there we have it, the master prompt method. It really does sound like a powerful way to turn AI into a core part of your business engine.
It really does. It seems like a genuinely accessible way to tap into that exponential growth and efficiency, making AI a true operating system, not just an add-on.
It's clear how revolutionary this could be for business, but it makes me wonder, and maybe something for you, the listener, to think about. Beyond work, beyond your company, what other area of your life, maybe a personal project, a hobby, something you're learning, could you apply this master prompt idea to? What kind of unique knowledge base could you build for an AI assistant just for yourself? Something to maybe mull over.